So, anyway, let's conduct business, guys. Okay, it's balanced patch review. Let's go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this thing, right? Actually, well, I guess I'll talk about the runes. So, superior rune of surging. 6-piece bonus of the set has been changed to its movement speed. Over 20% vigor duration. Yeah. That's a good change, actually, seeing as, I mean, the vigor duration was kind of sucked. Alright. So, again, we've got a few general changes. These are actually relevant as well. These are actually fairly important. Both of them are. So, exhaustion. This is a little debuff, guys, that prevents you, right, from regenerating endurance at all. Right, okay? So it now stacks in duration. And the reason it stacks in duration is because of some changes to Thief, I suppose, in particular. But it also will affect Mesmer. But the thing is, ArenaNet already deleted Elusive Mind from the game. So you don't have to worry about it anymore, right? Okay, and then Confusion. This no longer deals damage when a skill is prevented from activating due to an invalid position of the target relative to the caster. This is kind of a quality of life that will stop you from killing yourself sometimes, but realistically it doesn't actually do anything, right? It doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, Exhaustion is a boon, actually. I wonder if this gets extended by Signet of Inspiration. It's an odd way of putting it, yeah. I wonder if you can extend Exhaustion on yourself. It's good. Elementalist. In this update and in the future, we're looking to enhance the support role of Tempest through boons, healing, and cleansing. Specific to today's release, we've adjusted the Tempest support through all skills, shouts, and traits. With this in mind, we've added some classic elemental attunement support to each of the shouts, and we've altered Tempestuous Aria so that support functions are easier to access for Tempest players. So, most important change first, guys. Frostbow. It used to summon a little conjure called Icebow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Icebow. An Icebow. Here we have Brazil once again using the Icebow number 4 skill. The Icebow with the line casting exploit. Dude, the Icebow is better than you. Without Icebow, with Icebow, even with Icebow, the Icebow. An Icebow, the Icebow. It's the Icebow that does it. You scrubs are just there to help get the Icebow to the boss so you can exploit kill it. Yes? Yes. The Berserker meta is a lie.
Look what ArenaNet did, guys. They changed it to Frostbow. How could they do this? Ben, why? Moving on to the actual good stuff. Sand Squall, lovely ability, guys. Increase the boon duration this skill grants has been increased from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. The number of allies this effect has been increased from 5 to 10. So this is ArenaNet's plan to enable Boon Tempest in a way, and also just like really, this is actually a hard buff. This is a hard buff to support Ellie, right, with a Hazard Warhorn, right? Just for reference here, guys. So let's just crunch the numbers here. Before, Sand Squall gives 2 seconds of extra boons to 5 targets. That's 10 seconds of boons, right? Okay. Sand Squall now gives 3 seconds of boons to 10 targets. That's 30 seconds of boons. So that means it's 3 times better. Wow. Yeah, this is an incredibly powerful ability now, guys. I think it's worth noting, and this is something that I would perhaps caution ArenaNet with, actually. Boon extension, use it at your peril, right, to balance the game. This is a very strong effect, right? Extending boons is a very, very strong effect. So you really have to watch out for something like this. Like, this is a really good ability. And now I think like Heal Ellie, like Dagger Warhorn Heal Ellie, the Scepter Warhorn Heal Ellie, right? Stuff like this is very good. Because it can fill gaps, right? Suppose your Chrono is new, he's you know, they're working on the rotation. Suddenly this can really hook you up, right? And extend out that boon duration by, it can, you know, buff up the duration by about 12%, 10% on everyone, right? Like if you've got resistance from your thief with the Ecto, or if you've got a firebrand, suddenly you're giving everyone more resistance, right? If you have stability from the Guardian, now that's going up as well, right? Now that's going up to 3 another 3 seconds on top of that, okay? This is very, very powerful effect, and yeah, it's going to be one of the key enablers, actually, for Boon Ellie, right? And it's going to be very strong. You're going to see a lot of variants of this. There'll be some with a dagger, some with Scepter Warhorn, some with dagger Warhorn. You could even probably get away with the staff and use the passive proc. So one of the key linchpins of the build that, well, I've got the trait set up for this right now, right? One of the key linchpins for this is the fact that you have imbued melodies, which gives you another proc, right? Another proc of Sand Squall, effectively doubling the value you're getting out of this trait, right? In addition to giving you concentration. So you do sacrifice healing, you don't have Elemental Bastion. But what you do is double extend boons, right? For a total of 6 seconds of boon extension every 30 seconds, right? So with no alacrity, you increase the duration of boons by 20%. Okay? And with alacrity, it's actually 25%. So this trait, Imbue Melodies with Sand Skull, actually make Tempest a bit of a beast, actually. Like, because bear in mind, guys, there are some choices you can make here. You could play this kind of setup and actually play heal, right? You could, what would you want to drop here, actually? You could, say, play water with probably Soothing Power. You could go ahead and crack out some Aquamancer's training as well for some, some of this stuff. And then kind of, play with probably dagger here, actually, I guess. I can breathe water on people is probably the best way to go about it, right? Something like that. So like dagger, Warhorn, heal Ellie, and, you can play some of this stuff, right? You probably wouldn't play this either. Then you could just like full YOLO and like full support, right? Evasive Arcana, boom, 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 boom. Get the res trait, right? So you can play like a really healy version of this as well, guys, right? So then you'd probably play Dagger Warhorn here. You can go full heal and still extend out these boons while still providing these 10-man shouts, right, as well. And we just talked. I'll just very quickly sum this up, guys. Feel the Burn, Flash Freeze, Aftershock, Eye of the Storm, Rebound. All of these now give boons, right? So the relevant ones are Feel the Burn, which is 3 might for 10 seconds, right? In other words, that's 3 might on 10 players with Tempest Tempest RA, guys, has been changed now to affect 10 targets in addition to its current effects. So in other words, you can in a way consider these to be 10 target in a lot of situations, right? Flash Freeze is regen on everyone as well, which is really nice. Okay, another really solid source of regen. Aftershock is protection as well, which is great. This is a really cool thing. So again, more protection. I don't think Aftershock will actually be that relevant. Maybe somewhere in PvP potentially, but or maybe World vs World. But I think protection on Heal Ellie is actually the least of your worries. You've got Earth Overload, you've got Sand Squall, right? You've got a tuning to Earth in Arcane, right? So you're really not worried too much about protection. You've already got a lot of 10 target protection, so don't have to worry about that. Eye of the Storm Swiftness, obviously that's not really relevant. That's going to be really easy to get. Rebound, again, it's Fury, right? Like it's not relevant at all, right? They just put that there. I actually, okay, I'll tell you what. I would actually like to see Rebound changed from Fury to something else. I almost want to say Resistance, right? But the thing is, that will prevent you from dying, right? And kind of shut that effect down. So maybe Stability or something like that. Maybe a few stacks of Stability or something like that, potentially. And then Weave Self. This is actually a pretty big buff, I think. So Woven Earth gave you 320 toughness. 320 toughness as damage reduction is probably 320 toughness is actually around on an Ellie with no armor. Is about 15% damage reduction, if I get that right. Is it 15%? Or is it less than that? It might be a bit less than that. So this is actually a buff pretty much all the time, unless you have... So yeah, this is pretty much a buff all the time, I think, on Weave Self. So yeah, Bunkery Ellie is better. Also, this is just, in my opinion, a better design-wise as well. And it makes it less annoying to play Codney Weaver in raids. Well, Weave Self in raids, right? Because you're not going to steal aggro anymore. So yeah, pretty good change there. Flat endurance gain, yeah, that could be very interesting, but they want it to be a boon, right? So in general, really strong changes to Tempest. Oh yeah, I forgot. Wash the pain away, cleanses the condition on its final pulse as well. That's a nice change as well, especially in World vs. World, and it gives Tempest some much needed cleanse, right? It struggles to keep up in PvP in particular, right, with the amount of cleanse, and in World vs. World, it's a nice added buff, right? Cleanse is the name of the game. Healerly is already dominating that scene, as it turns out. It's really good at it, and now that's gonna make it even stronger, guys. Especially seeing as there's an inclination to play anti-toxin runes in World vs. World. This is gonna cleanse 2 conditions on its final pulse, and you're almost certainly gonna play 10 target with Tempestuous Aria, so it's gonna cleanse 20 conditions with just one ability. So yeah, you can't buff that anymore. Like the Tempestuous Aria change, guys. I'll just go ahead and show what it actually looks like here. This ability is actually god tier. I mean, damn, dude. They made all the shouts 10 targets, right? With Tempestuous Aria. So that means Wash the Pain Away. Wash the Pain Away, guys, is 10 targets, right? Rebound is 10 targets. So all 10 targets, right? That's very good. That's real good, guys. And that also applies to the offensive capability as well. So now you've got, like, if you can get in melee in World vs. World, you can AoE immobilize people with Aftershock. You can 10 target super speed people, 10 target immobilize, 10 target chill, 10 target frost aura. This is a really, really big buff to heal early, particularly in World vs. World, right? Like, you're going to get some absolutely absurd numbers. Like, it effectively doubles the strength of all of your shouts, which are already really good. This is a really powerful change, right? It's clear that ArenaNet want to bring Tempest up to the tier level of Firebrand in World vs. World, and honestly, it's arguable that Healerly didn't even need this buff. It was already devastating with the immobes, the healing and cleansing it provided, right? It was already incredibly powerful, right? But now it's like, whoa, right? It's incredibly strong. When you hit Wash the Pain Away, you're going to hard heal a ridiculous amount of people, right? Firebrand's kit is just problematic, honestly. But yeah, that's a story for another time, guys. In general, really awesome changes to Tempest. Busted in PvE right now, guys. Busted in World vs. World. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, guys. You got to give ArenaNet the balance team that, okay? It is absolutely crazy in those 2 game modes. Going to be a hell of a lot of fun to play, and I like that it spawned this new boon extension build. Hopefully, the Imbue Melodies trait gets fixed, because that is actually a really big deal. When this gets changed to 10 tugs, if it's supposed to be 10 targets, if that goes up to 3 seconds extension and 10 target, the passive trait. Yes, Nico. Yeah, dude. Ellie, love it. Gonna have so much fun with playing this, actually. Definitely recommend trying it out, guys. For the boon extension build, which was with the earth and fire trait lines, or then maybe the heal variants with water and arcane, with Warhorn as well, like maybe some kind of Harrier setup with a lot of boon duration, so you can have very high uptime of regen, protection, fury, might as well. Like, definitely would recommend, guys. Give it a try. Very strong in raids. Very strong in raids. And the staff minstrel build in World vs. World, anti-toxin rune, god tier. Engineer. Get a cheeky relog here, boys. We're reworking one of the less reliable skill sets, gyros. While potent, they're difficult to use, and optimize has brought them to a spot where they're not really desirable outside of a few niche situations. As a part of this rework, gyros are being reclassified as wells, and the Scrapper's particular version of them is mobile and point blank to enhance the Scrapper's melee-oriented playstyle. So, this is an interesting statement, actually. This is very much an interesting statement. Gyros it is true that they certainly were niche. For example, you would use the sneak gyro in areas in World vs. World, right? You would use the bulwark gyro again in World vs. World. In PvP, stuff like Purge gyro did see a bit of play as well on top of that. Hang on, let me show these abilities properly. So there was actually some niche play, and that is definitely how I would describe it. And what they've done here is they've basically vastly increased the usability of them, because they would kind of lag behind you. Sometimes they're a bit gimmicky. They kind of get stuck a bit. So what they've done now is they've made it very consistent, much more usable, and just in general that they're better now. They've been buffed in a lot of ways. Like the only loser of this patch, I could probably say, is maybe Blast Gyro Tag, because you could throw this and then the gyro would like knock them. But then again, that's probably not going to happen in a lot of situations, to be honest. Like, you're not going to be able to get that in Wolf Sword. It will die long before it gets there, right? It's going to get wrecked. So even this is actually probably a bit better now. Because it is a fun ability to use, I've got to say it is a fun one. It's a big fun one. Yeah, so I like it. I think the overall better design now. I think it is a bit sad that the previous design couldn't work. Because at the end of the day, this has now removed some of the flavor. Normally you have this little bot, this beat booper, who's like flying around like crazy, following you. And now the effect is just like this, guys. And because it's a well, you get a combo field, right? You're going to get a combo field with all of your abilities. For example, we have a lightning field on Bulwark Gyro, which is really nice. We'll go into that later. Sneak Gyro is a smoke field. So this is, you know, in a way, a convenience thing. Like previously, what you would do in, say, World vs. World GVG is you would go ahead and go on Bomb Kit and drop yourself down a smoke bomb. But now what you can do is, like, right at the start of your GVG, you can just go ahead and hit your Sneak Gyro. And it will not only cleanse people, but you can also, you know, blast that field to stealth everyone up, and it would also stealth some people in your group as well. So yeah, you know, it's a solid buff to all of these. Like Purge Gyro, instead of cleansing conditions from 2 players, from like 1 player, right? Now what it does is it actually is an AoE cleanse field and a light aura. And this is actually quite an interesting one. Like this may even actually see some play. I think it's not. I don't think it can actually fit in the World vs. World Scrapper build. Not always, anyway. Like maybe it can see some. Maybe some people like it, but I do like the change here. It's now removes 5 conditions from 5 targets, pulsing every second. But bear in mind, guys, antitoxin runes. That's 10 conditions from 5 targets. Right? Whoa, that's kind of fully cleanse more or less, and fully convert as well, which is even better. So quite the little ability here, guys. And I love some of these changes. They're a lot of fun, right? These are a lot of fun to play with. So Blast Gyro is now an AoE field, right? It's a fire field, and then this ring comes in, and then boom, right? Boom! Even blasts its own field. So it pulses out Might, and then explodes at the end, and is a big launch as well, guys. This is like a 600 launch. That's fair play, actually, dude. That's a big one. So maybe if you can get this off, it's good. But again, I don't think it can really fit. I don't think you can fit this in your World vs. World builds really, or probably in PvP as well. Again, it's kind of like a fun ability, you know, a bit of fun, a little bit of a fun one. Very strong CC though. If you ever find yourselves playing Scrapper in in PvE or something like that, you know, that's gonna be good shit, dude. Yeah, it's very big value. So then Medic Gyro is a water field. I think Medic Gyro is in a really tough spot. Again, it's more of like a flavor thing that they added into this. I think the Medic Gyro is really going to struggle to compete with this stuff. It does have the AoE heal, and it has that AoE protection on Reconstruction field there as well, guys. Which, you know, that is good, right? Especially if you run, say, anti-corrosion plating here, guys. You could say in Inventions run anti-corrosion plating with purity of purpose here, so your heal skill can remove an insane amount of conditions as well, like with this wombo combo here. So you have like mega big conversion here by combining the F1 ability. But again, you're competing with Medkit, and Medkit is just absolutely fantastic, right? So I just don't see this really. It's not going to happen, right? It's just. Medkit is just so strong for this heal variant, right? I'm not sure if you're really going to see a lot of play there. Maybe some kind of bruiser build, actually, in PvP could see play there, but healing turret, man. Like, healing turret's real good. It's real good. But yeah, you know, it's a nice buff. Medkit, which mode is it good? It's very strong in World vs. World and PvP. Very strong in both those game modes. It has very high healing output, very high cleanse output, nice boons, and big AoE healing. It's real strong. Even Heal Scrapper in PvP actually does see some play, actually, to be fair. It's not, you know, meta, right, in PvP, but you can absolutely play Heal Scrapper in PvP. It is quite a strong little kit you can have set up there as well. Bulwark Gyro. Now, this is probably the most... I don't want to say most interesting, because that sounds harsh, like the other ones aren't interesting. They're all really cool changes, actually. But this is probably one of the ones that's going to see the most play. Particularly in World vs. World, of course. So what this one does now, guys, is it deploys a Bulwark Gyro, and it gives you barrier, right? And it redirects the damage instead to the gyro to you, right? Which is terrifying, obviously. But the idea is you can tank with the barrier to mitigate the damage. Now, I believe it is still the same. I believe it's 33% getting funneled into you. So that is a nice damage reduction, right, guys? That's nice. That is. Okay, that's very good. Right? And, of course, it comes with a very strong tool belt ability. This this projectile block with stability, AoE. Very nice. Very nice defense field here, guys. But, yeah, Bulwark Gyro is really good. Now, in World vs. World, the technique I've seen from the scrappers is that you actually pop Elixir S at the same time because you will die, right? Like if you're pushing into a bomb with Bulwark Gyro, you will insta get farmed, right? Okay, you get instantly farmed. So what players have been doing, right? Okay, is that you use Bulwark Gyro, and then you go ahead and Elixir S to become invulnerable, right? And then you don't die, right? So for example, if you were going for a push of some kind, what you can do is like, okay, right, we're gonna do a push, here we go, and then we just run in, and then we use our Elixir S, right? And in we go. Okay, boom. There you have it, right? So that's what I've heard is how you do it. So that kind of mitigates that insane damage incoming. But yeah, really cool. Maybe, I obviously maybe more directed, in PvP you'll be able to actually use this without suiciding, because the barrier is actually very strong. That's one thing to note about this ability, guys, is that the barrier output is very, very high. I'm in full Berserker right now, I want to say. I believe I'm playing Berserker gear currently. So I have 0 healing power, right? So if you played healing power, this would obviously be higher, yeah. And it's initial 3k barrier and then a pulsing 1k barrier, so another 5k barrier on top of that as well. And is that toolkit showing the modified one as well? Let's see, because we have 15% extra. It's actually not, so it's actually even more than that, guys. So as you can see, the barrier on my health is going up to, actually went to like nearly 8k there, so really, really strong, guys, really, really strong. But yeah, really cool. I love it. I love it. From Bulwark Gyro, so really nice rework here. And then Shredder Gyro. So this is kind of that poor little fella. He's like the unloved child of the gyros. No one ever uses him. Will he be used now? Probably not. I mean, him dying wasn't really the problem. Like unfortunately, for the for the world gyro. Look at the little guy. He's doing his best. For the Shredder Gyro, the problem is his badness, unfortunately. Does Suicide work on the Shredder? Oh, I'll have a look. I think it should, right? It should work on all of them. But anyway, the Shredder Gyro is sadly probably not going to be that good. Do you get the super speed? Oh, yeah, you do. The super speed does work there. So yeah, you do get the super speed. But we'll talk. This trait is amazing, by the way. The shocking speed, we'll talk about that trait in a little bit. Like that trait is the good shit, right? That's the good shit. That shocking speed now. But anyway, so yeah, Shredder Gyro is not really going to see any play. Like he needs pets. He doesn't really have a place. He's got a lot of world finishes, but I mean, does anyone really need world finishes? Probably not. Like, and again, NG already has NG's utility is already very competitive anyway, right off the bat. So it's really tough to. It's really tough to fit that in anywhere, really, right? Like in World vs. World, you'll typically want. You'll probably want something like this already, right? So medkit, let's something like that. So you're already kind of struck. Like, what would you replace here, right? For anything else, right? It's really difficult. So for some classes, it's always going to be a really tough sell, and you probably want supply crate and open field actually. But you know what I mean. Like GVG, you can take the stealth theme, right? That juicy reveal too. So it's very difficult to fit stuff in. So I know it's a cool rework, and he had to get a little bit of rework too. Good old Shredder Gyro. He's doing his best. He's doing his best. Alrighty, so now let's move on to the trait as well, which is Shocking Speed. So Shocking Speed now makes the gyro effects bigger, which is a massive deal, obviously, from 240 radius to 360, which is a 50% increase, which is really good, right? Okay. And then on top of that, when they end, they give AoE super speed. So one of the things that got taken away from Scrapper was its ability to give AoE super speed. And now they've kind of brought that back better, right? Like before it was something like 3 seconds, I want to say, AoE super speed. But now it's going to be 5 seconds AoE in a pretty large radius. Like the radius was 240 last time, and now it's 360. And for 5 seconds as well. Like that's really, really strong. In again, world versus world focus change here. Super speed is very valuable, being able to push faster, get through AoEs, push up chokes, stuff like that, like really, really fast, catch up with the enemy, gain ground, retreat, get away, right? So this is a very powerful trait here, like, and a really nice buff. As well, because you gain super speed, you'll get rapid regeneration, so you're going to heal more with your medical dispersion field as well. So it's a very, very strong wombo combo here. And previously, you actually ran perfectly weighted, as I understand it. I think Angels was running this in GVGs, and now you're definitely going to want to run this, I think. Shocking speed. Just that super speed, extra healing, bigger gyros as well is really, really good, right? Like, getting that big bulwark gyro is going to be a big deal. And, of course, bulwark gyro goes. Another thing is that bulwark gyro is a lightning field, okay? So what you can do, you'll do this with a hammer. Actually, do I have a hammer? I think I have a hammer. Yeah, so what you could do, right, is you have your bulwark gyro, right, and then you can leap through that field, right. So actually, wait, probably you could do this with something like acid bomb as well. So what you could do is you pop the gyro going here, and then you can blast that field, right? Get 5 seconds of super speed. When the gyro runs out, the super speed is refreshed again right there. So that's 10 seconds of AoE super speed that you can apply there, guys, right? That's real nice. Okay. So you can really be a super speed powerhouse, right, with some of these combos here. So really cool trait, like the design. Just a lightning field stun. Well, if you whirl in it, you'll get dazing bolts. So yeah, I guess technically yes. Yeah. So yeah, big speed, mega speed there. And then Expo examination. Basically, this change is kind of a nothing change. Basically what this means is this trait doesn't do anything with gyros exploding, because gyros don't explode anymore, right? That's just not what it does. Okay. So I guess it's technically a nerf because, you know, it's had some of its functionality fall by the wayside. All right, and now the final thing they did to NG is they adjusted. So they changed all of these crystal configuration abilities, and this is a really odd change. They nerfed the stability uptime on Corona Burst. Right, so Corona Burst is the third skill. Oh wait, actually, wait, what? Oh, yeah, it doesn't show that. So Corona Burst is this ability here, and it gives stability for every hit. Right, for every hit you get some stability. You get 2 seconds of stability for each target you hit, so you can get a lot of stability with this. They reduced the duration in PvP and World vs. World down to 2 seconds from 4 seconds, which is a bit harsh. I think high stability uptime is really aids, I guess, but 2 seconds is pretty pathetic. Maybe it could have been 3 seconds, perhaps. And Hollow wasn't really doing that well either. That's the thing, right? Like, Hollow doesn't do that well in ATs. Like, it is playable, of course it is, but it is not one of the stronger classes. Like, I think this is maybe a nerf like directed at ranked, right? In a way, actually, like I think ranked is what's getting bopped here, because of course Hollow is a very, very nice solo class. So yeah, so that is, you know, that's something, I guess. So that's kind of why it's getting nerfed down. Like, yeah, he's only prot hollow precisely, like that. You know, that kind of side node like permaboon, mega sustain 1v1 1vx build, right? But is that really necessary? I don't know. I think it's arguable. It's not. I don't know. I fear this is where like the data-driven approach of ArenaNet's balance like does fail a little bit. Like, if anything, like Holosmith should probably be buffed. I don't know. I don't think it really had this one coming. Poor old Hollow. But to compensate, I think they buffed the other ones. So, Crystal Configuration Storm. This is one that didn't really see much play at all. The only play it saw was Condi Hollow in PvE. And they've made it do more damage. Now, I'm not sure how much more damage, but more damage. So, hang on, let's see. How does it go? So, that... Now we fire out little projectiles, right? Yeah, wait. There we go. Look. Pretty cool, right? So, I mean, that's something, right? So, maybe... I wonder if this is good in PvE now, right? Try to bust in the beta lemma. I I was thinking, like, is this good on power? I don't know. Honestly, the nerds need to tell you this, guys. But right now, you actually run this trait so you don't knock yourself back with Rifle 4, which is obviously a DPS increase. But maybe ArenaNet wants you to run this on Power Hollow and squeeze out a bit more DPS. Like, it's entirely possible that this is what... Hey, Charlie, by the way. It's entirely possible that's what they want you to do, and maybe this is a DPS increase now. So you can overheat fast to get more explosions. Hard to say, though. Perhaps not. Yeah. Big damage, dude. Big damage. Use it for the projectile finishes, the power damage part is minor. Well, yeah, they've increased it. They've increased it up, right? Yeah, they increased it. It's just like overheat super fast as well on Condi Hollow, right? I think. So you could just go cycle around ASAP. So yeah, I don't know. Like, not really sure what this really means, to be honest. I think Zephyr. Now, this is a pretty fun one, actually. So this one now makes you the stickiest thing ever. Literally the stickiest thing known to man in PvP. So not only whenever you use Hollow Forge 2, do you gain super speed, okay? Right? You also cripple whoever you hit with this, right? And this is AoE. Basically, if someone, hang on, can I force this guy to get it? Yeah. So if anyone who touches this pad, right, gets super speed. So in other words, if your allies touch that, they also gain super speed and go really fast. So kind of a kind of a little fun thing there. Is maybe abusing that. So you can go really fast. Like we can kind of extend out as well. So that's a cool one. And you also cripple. So now they go really slow. And you go really fast. So, will that see play? I don't know. I'm honestly not sure. It removes all the conditions well. I can honestly see it seeing play. Like, especially with the lowered stability uptime. Though, to be honest, like the stability uptime on Corona, I still think it's really good in PvP. It's really nice, right? Really good. Really good. So I think with Hollow nothing will really change. Maybe you'll see some slight variance of this build. Maybe running Zephyr more like a hit and run, really chasing people down, like really going on people, finishing people off, like picking people off, going for kills, pushing for speed. Maybe, but I think Corona is still really strong. The Eclipse, right, is still gonna be really strong. I'd expect to see it remaining in play. And Hollow's been, it's not gonna hurt that much, but it does suck. Overall for NG. Cool Scrapper rework. Certainly going to be a buff in all game modes, actually. It's buffed everywhere with the way these gyros work. Good choice of combo fields by ArenaNet, like the light field on the Purge gyro, the lightning field on Bulwark gyro, and the smoke field on Sneak gyro. Really cool there. Great new trait in Shocking Speed. Scrapper was already meta in GVG. Okay, so it's even better now, and I think it's going to be even better in Zerg fights as well, because now you can give that consistent AoE super speed, which is really good. Great all round. Great all round from this, and I do like the. Yeah. Although I am a bit sad that gyros lost their flavor, it was an unworkable flavor, right? So ArenaNet made the right call here, and the overall usability functionality of gyros is superior now, although at a minor cost of the flavor. Alrighty, so Guardian. Let's move on, guys, to Guardian. Righteous Instincts has been an incredibly potent trait since it was reworked to grant a large boost to the player's critical hit chance. Because of this, it's crowded out the other Grandmaster options for the Radiance build. In this update, we're bringing down the power of this trait to be more in line with other Grandmaster traits, and to give a little boost to its competition. Furthermore, we are giving a small boost to Staff and Torch weapons and enhancing Hallowed Ground to help it achieve its purpose. To help allies manage crowd control. Now, this is technically true. Okay, this is true. All of this makes sense, guys. Okay, and I want to give a brief moment of silence for the Firebrand hybrid builds in PvP in particular, running Harrier Amulet or Mender Amulet and crit capping with Righteous Instincts. I just want to give, a moment of silence, please, for those builds, guys, because they just got the shaft. That isn't really unfortunate. Kind of a casualty of war with this is that they always hit the Firebrand build. So with this nerf as well, because you want to run Radiance here. So let's talk about this, guys. Righteous Instincts is a trait that what it used to give, right, is when you have Retail, you gain Might and 50% crit, right? That change is now 25%. It's got to change down to 25%. Okay? So, in other words, 50% crit, guys, How much precision in that? That is 50 times 21. That's 1,050 precision in one ability, right? That's absolutely insane, right? Like how strong that really is. So it's true that this trait was pretty ridiculous. I think ArenaNet thought the requirement was quite high to have retail. It turns out it's really easy to get retail. And you can have it all the time, pretty much, right? There you go. There you go. And yeah, this was way too strong, and it enabled some incredibly obnoxious gameplay. I'm looking at you, Core Guard. So I think this is direct enough to Core Guard, right? I think ArenaNet don't like Core Guard, and I think that's fair enough. I think no one does. It's a very well, if you're a new player, it's just gonna shit on you, and if you're a good player, it's useless. Pretty much, well, not useless, but you can shut it down very hard. So Core Guard has got wrecked here. This is mostly like a target at lower level play in PvP to try and nerf that build down. Like now you're gonna, because what you do is previously you run Valkyrie Amulet, which has massive ferocity and power on it. Now you're going to be forced to play Marauder, probably, right? You'll still be able to crit cap, of course, but you'll have less ferocity and less power, right? So the damage is going to be taken down a fair bit, and I would expect to see it. I think it will still see play. I think it will still be good in PvP, just because it's good at beating unprepared players and snowballing games quite effectively in solo queue, but I think it will actually struggle to do even that. I think it's considerably weaker. ArenaNet wanted to push it away, I think, and that's fair enough. I actually would agree with that. I think it's I love the idea that ArenaNet is trying to push and make core builds good, particularly for like free-to-play players, but Core Guard was the wrong way to do it, man. Like Core Guard was not. No. So this is a really good change. I like it. ArenaNet, big brain, okay? Mega brain, boys, okay? Alrighty, so rip Core Guard. The sad thing is, and what does make me a bit unhappy about this is for a start, I would like to see this split. I think splitting this in PvE would be good. I don't know why, this is really confusing me, actually. I don't know why ArenaNet isn't splitting Guardian in PvP and PvE. I really don't get it. For example, in PvE, I think it's fine at 50%. In fact, it enables hybrid builds, which I love. I love hybrid builds, so I really think this should stay at 50% in PvE. Symbol of Vengeance fixed a bug that causes skill to function improperly with the Symbolic Avenger and Symbolic Power traits. So these are two traits in Zeal, Symbolic Avenger and Symbolic Power here. It basically it makes the symbols do more damage, and also you do more damage to enemies standing in your symbols. Pretty cool traits. This is a PvE change, really. Basically, it was bugged. And it didn't count as a symbol sometimes, which was actually a bit of a nerf to using. It was, I believe, it was a nerf to like the Power Firebrand setup where we would use Axe to give Fury, right? Like this, it was like a fractal build mostly, but could definitely see play in raids as well. And now that's fixed. And now you're forced to use Sword, right? To get that modifier and the extra damage on the symbol. But now you won't have to. Now you can play Axe, which is better. I believe, anyway. Think so. Dragon Hunter fans, rejoice! The range has been increased from True Shot from 1200 to 1500. So that makes it the same range as Longbow Ranger. Will this do anything? Absolutely not. Dragon Hunter is trash. Guys, I'm sorry. It is. If there are any DH fans, got some bad news for you. Your class fucking sucks. No, it got deleted a long time ago, and DH just can't compete with the other stuff that's about right now. Like, it's not that it's a bad class, right? It's just that it can't keep up. By the way, this is obviously a PvP change, right? Like, you don't DH in say PvE is fantastic, right? Obviously, but I mean, it's nice. It is nice that they're trying to address it, but DH needs a lot more than this, right? Like, it just can't compete with this stuff. It really can't. All the other classes are just better. Like all the elite specs are just too strong. Just better. Another bug fix here. All right, and now let's talk about the Condi buffs, guys. Condi Guardian. Oh boy, have I got a treat for you guys. So, Cleansing Flame, which is Torch 5. Okay, damage up by 21%, and the final hit inflicts 2 stacks of burning for 4 seconds. Okay, so with capped burn duration, that is 8 seconds, which is what I have now. I'm capped on burn duration, guys. So it's 8 seconds of burning. In other words, 16 seconds of burning, effectively. Like if because conditions, they just, you know, they add up. You can do it like that. You can say 2 seconds of burning for 8 seconds is the same as 16 seconds of overall burning, right? So that's a really nice change. Like, I think you use this in the PvE rotation. A little bit, it's going to push the damage up a teeny tiny bit. You use it like to fill over Scepter, right? Like there's a brief period of time previously where you'd be like awkwardly auto attacking in Scepter a little bit because it was always a DPS increase, by the way, because of proccing your F1. But now it's definitely going to be DPS increase and quite a solid one as well. Now, one thing to note about this is that they also buffed Amplified Wrath, and this is actually a buff to Cleansing Flame inherently as well, guys. Okay, why is that? Because, guys, Guardian has an ability. Okay, called Tome of Justice and Virtue of Justice, right? And what that means is that every few attacks you apply a burning stack, right? And in Virtues you have a trait called Permeating Wrath, okay? Which means you get it's every 3 attacks as opposed to every 5 attacks, and that makes it AoE. So in other words, if you've got 2 guys, right? Every time you hit those 2 guys 3 times, right? You'll get 2 burn stacks, right? So you know if you know. It scales, right? This ability scales really hard. Like when you've got ads around, you like epidemic them, like by automatic. Your auto attacks epidemic them, dude. It's burning. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. Okay. It is god tier, my friends. Okay. And now they've buffed this as well because Amplified Wrath, guys, now you don't get the block thing anymore, so you can't use it to kill arrow cuts. Feels bad, man. But it increases the base duration of your F1. Okay. By 20%. So in other words, it goes from 2 seconds base up to 2.4 seconds, which is 4.8 seconds with 100% duration. So that is a pretty hefty increase as well, especially considering the fact that when now you're going to be using Cleansing Flame, you've got this very desirable ability. That's going to proc that 3 times as well. Okay, even if that's on 1 target. Like if you use this on ads, guys, think about this, guys. Check this out, right? Check this out. Okay. If you use this on, say, the maximum targets, 3 targets, that's 30 hits, right? That means you're going to proc Permeating Wrath 10 times, right? That's 10 AoE burn stacks. Like, that is spicy, right? That's it. Yeah, and it does go past the cap. So if we go ahead and mouse over our F1 here, you'll notice that the burning passive, for a start, it's in blue. If I take it off, I think it won't be in blue anymore. Yeah, see, it won't be in blue. That means blue means base duration modifier, right? And if we put it back on, it goes back up to 4.75. Like it says 4 3/4, but it's 4.8, right? Okay, so in other words, Firebrand has got some really nice buffs here. This is probably going to push it an extra few, like an extra, like I want to say like 1.5k, 2k DPS. This is a nice change actually. Extra burning across the board, big damage, love it. Now, this is also a big deal for the hybrid build, right? Okay, so the Condi Quickness build, right? So the Condi Quickness build, what it does is, it does damage and applies quickness. Quite simple, guys. Well, that was simple, wasn't it? And it also does Fury too. Although actually, if you've got a healer leader, we know that's right. But it does Fury as well, so it's a nice added bonus. Have some juicy Fury in there. So, what does this mean? Okay, what does this mean? It means that they're trying to push again, like giving the Renegade Firebrand composition a bit of a nudge, and I think this is actually maybe even the nudge it needs, right? It definitely does need that. This is going to make it really good in some places, like in places where maybe simpler encounters where you can really go ham on DPS, and encounters that don't have phases. Stuff like MO, I guess, and Sabbather, I guess. Well, Sabbather has phases, right? But you can actually cleave the ad and Sabbather, right? So Amplified Wrath and Permeating Wrath is really big value there, right? And you can reset on the ads right on Sabbather, stuff like that, right? So on certain encounters, Firebrand Renegade is going to be crazy, man. It's going to do some sick DPS, actually, with these 2 changes. So really, really cool stuff there, actually, coming out from this. Like, and the hybrid build, I think, is really great right now. So lovely change there by ArenaNet. Good stuff. And yeah, I guess it is a nerf in World vs. World, right? Because now you can't abuse Amplified Wrath to just to do that. But it's honestly not the end of the deal. Like, it's only the block. Like, the main burn Firebrand in World vs. World was burn guard in general, burn DH, stuff like that. You would typically abuse Wall of Reflection, right, to proc Permeating Wrath a lot, if I recall correctly. So that's still intact, and maybe even a little bit stronger because it's got more duration now, right? So yeah, it's all good. It's all good, guys. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I like the change a lot. I'm looking forward to playing hybrids. Might do it after the balance match for you guys. So stay tuned for hybrids, my friends. Right. Hallowed Ground. Skills radius is up to 360. Let's see what it looks like. Wow, look at that. Boom. It's a pretty big one. Now, is there any chance of this seeing play? No, right? There's no way. Maybe in niche areas in... You know what? Do you think this is good in PvP? Is it PvP? Do you think? Over stand your ground? Yeah.
Stand your ground is a stun.
Yeah.
As well.
Is a stun breaker, you're right. And in War vs. World, I don't think it's going to work, right? Yeah, in War vs. World, you know, the game has too mobile, you're just going to move out of it, and it's one stack for 2 seconds. It ain't going to cut it. In War vs. World, I don't think, anyway. Like, you know, you've got Stand Your Ground already, you've got Tome 3, you've got Oodles and Stab already, that you don't, you know. And again, Guardian Utilities are also really competitive as well. Like, in War vs. World, you really want the Cleanse Mantra, you really want Merciful, you really want Stand Your Ground, right? So you can't really get out of that. Unfortunately, in War vs. World. So it is what it is, right? I think Hallowed Ground, I like the change. Maybe we see some experimentation in PvP. I can definitely see it. Like, that's a pretty big radius. You can cover a whole node with that. So maybe for just, like, you slam it down, you're in the team fight, boom, like, you're kind of immune to CC for, say, 8 seconds-ish, right? So that's pretty solid, I guess. And the retail's a nice touch as well. But I think maybe the cooldown's still a bit too long. Yeah. Probably cooldown's a bit too long and has a long cast time. It's a 1 second cast time that can get shut down pretty quickly. Yeah, it's a bit... Nice change. Still probably not going to cut it. Alright, Honourable Staff. This trait now grants 120 concentration plus an additional 120 concentration while wielding staff, in addition to reducing staff recharge skill terms. Now, this is like a bit of a meme. We're giving a small boost to staff and torch weapons. Like, this is actually probably the opposite in most cases, actually. So, this trait used to give 200 concentration no matter what, right? And reduce the recharge of staff skills. So, again, this is probably a nerf. Because if you're not on your staff, you lose 80 concentration. You gain 40 while you're on your staff. So, on average, you probably have less, right? Concentration. So, yeah, it's probably not that good. To be honest, I would like to see some additional flavor on the staff trait. I would like to see it change the staff ability. I think I'm not sure how ArenaNet would feel about having multiple traits per class that change an ability. I think Honorable Staff is a candidate for a really powerful one of these, because you've got to bear in mind, guys, it has got some. This trait has got to be really good, okay, to compete, because it's competing with Pure of Heart. Right, this is an amazing trait. Okay, this whenever your Aegis blocks, it heals. With healing power, this will typically go over 1k. In War vs. World, it'll be like 2k with all your healing modifiers, right, and all the healing food and stuff like that. Okay, so in order to have any hope, this has got to be amazing. I think maybe make it PvE oriented as well. But even then, like, you really Pure of Heart is such a strong ability. I think it's going to be a tough sell pretty much no matter what. I think, yeah, it would need to change an ability on staff. What could it do? Maybe it could change the auto attack to be a bit like Druid staff auto attack, and you can heal people with it or something like that instead of doing damage, right? Because the auto attack is the least useful part about Bolt of Wrath. About staff. So maybe it changes the auto attack actually and makes it supportive in some way. Move while in power for as well. That would be a nice one actually. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. That actually, yeah. I'll tell you what, that would be a pretty interesting change actually. Make Empower castable while moving. I like that. I do like that, guys. And maybe make Empower better as well. Maybe make Empower give another boon or something like that. Like, really, right, hit it hard. Like, if you want to take this trait, it's got to be damn good, right? Okay, damn good to compete with the other stuff. But, I don't know. They tried, right? They tried. So, Lesser Smite Condition. The damage of this trait has been reduced by about 40% in PvP only. So, that is in Valor. It's this, Smiter's Boon. Now, this is again a nerf to Core Guard in particular, a bit of a nerf to Firebrand as well. But you weren't too fussed about the damage, right? You did a bit of damage, to be fair, because you know Firebrand has actually surprisingly decent pressure, especially with the F1 tome and sword. So it does nerf Firebrand a little bit, the pressure coming out from that, but that's fine, right? Okay, it's mainly a nerf to Core Guard because Core Guard runs this trait as well, Valor, because you want to run in this trait Monk's Focus to get Fury, and to also sustain yourself a little bit because you run Litany of Wrath, right? You run Litany on the Core Guard, and what you would do is like you go in, right? You spike, and then you can kind of do even more damage by using your heal skill, which will then fully resustain you. But also you'll get an AOE damage spike as well. And what would happen is, guys, is if you're in a team fight and you use your Litany, the Litany applies before, okay, the spike condition goes off. So in other words, the healing, you get the healing, right? Okay. From the Litany, the healing from using the Monk's Focus, right? And then the damage from the Smiter's Boon, the Smiter condition, right? Converts into the Litany as well. So like using the heal skill will be actually sick, right? It'll be full heal you. It was pretty crazy, actually. So yeah, that's kind of what they were doing there. So again, had it coming. Had it coming, boys. Okay. And the final change for Guardian is Perfect Inscriptions. Again, they're trying to buff up these traits here. And this is one of my favorite changes. Oh, man. It's so good. I really like this change a lot. Finally, the Signet trait is... Wait, actually, is it fixed? Wait, can someone come next to me? I want to see if this is fixed. Okay, yeah, just use the Signet. Just use the Signet now, then I'll use it, and it will signature onto me, and then I'll signature away. Okay. So I've got 2 stacks now. So if I use this now, yeah, I only get 1 stack, right? Because I should keep 2 stacks, right? Okay, because it removes my stack, but then it gives it to you back, right? They change it so it gives you the stack back. Okay, basically for 10 seconds while it's recharging. But it also removed the stack he gave me, right? And that's obviously not how it's supposed to be. So, to be honest, for this to be truly strong, they actually need to address that bug. Because I can definitely see some really cool stuff. Like you say you've got 3 DHs in a party. They all use the Signet, and suddenly everyone's got another 600 power. Right, that's pretty cool, right? I don't know. That's well, another 400 power, right? But you know, the other guys in the subway have 600 power, and the Guardians have another 400 power. And 400 power is a big deal, guys. Like 400 power is 10 stacks of might, right? Yeah, I actually would think that would be really cool, Jor. If say the new Necromancer gave you a new dagger skills, right? Okay, that would be cool, right? That would be cool. But to be honest, I think that might confuse people a bit, so I'm not sure if they would do that. I don't know. What I think one approach. How about this, Joel, for this approach, right? Is if they made it so there's a new weapon that all the new elite specs can use. I think that will be an interesting approach. Right? Say spear, right, or something, or I know, like big axe or something like that, right? I think that could be another way to go. So, you know, instead of having a weapon for each class, it's a weapon for all, you know, everyone goes to this new land, right? And there's this new technique, right, that everyone learns, right? Something like that. Could be interesting. An interesting approach. And you could kind of make it, I think you could make it. Is it a bug, though? I thought it was intended to fix it, use a stack right after they added that trait. Well, I'm pretty sure it's not intended because it shouldn't. Basically, using this Signet removes every copy of the Signet, right? Surely it should only remove the actual passive, right? Okay. Sounds like the code just sets the Signet effect to 1. Well, it doesn't. What it does is it removes all stacks. Is what it does when you do this. It removes this debuff instead of doing you know their code instead of doing stacks -1, right? It says remove stacks, right? So I think the way it should work is it removes 1 stack of the Signet, but what it does is it removes all the stacks. It just says, you know, no, gone, right? And then applies the buff, right? So when you use a Signet, it goes remove all stacks, reapply buff. So you can even see it there, like you can see it reappear. Boom, reapply buff. So yeah, there you go. So I can get 2 stacks now when our lad shares it onto me, okay? But now he should have another. Well, not anymore because it ran out, right? But he should have had another stack, but now it's gone. Okay, right. So that's it for Guardian.